Hey everybody, we are live. Greg Johnson, 12-Minute Tuesdays. How are you doing? I trust you're fine. You know, I get on the internet, I get on my phone and I read social media feeds and I hardly go a day without being, here we go, offended. And I'm not hopefully easily offended, and I don't mean offended in a carnal sense. I mean offended for the glory of God. I mean offended for God's glory. Now, hey, I'm not perfect, nor are you, but I'll tell you this. I do have a sensitive spirit, and I smell stuff that looks like or smells like it might be offensive to the heart of God. And I came across another one. Now, I know right away. Some are going to say, oh, you're a little late to the game. Don't you know that major corporations have been doing what I'm going to say they've been doing for a number of years now, but it's now become much more obvious to people, and the right is calling it woke. And here it is. I got an email about how companies are allowing people to opt out of emails having to do with Mother's Day. Like if you're triggered or if you are sensitive to Mother's Day, we're going to help you. We're going to give you an opportunity to opt out of emails that might trigger negative emotions. And I know I'm sounding like a smart aleck right now, but I cannot help but recognize that behind all of this, are you offended? Are you offended? We don't want to trigger you. It smells. It smells like the kingdom of darkness. It smells real bad. And I've already offended maybe some of you. Somebody right now is saying, how dare you have a problem with companies asking people if they want to opt out of sensitive, triggering emails regarding the celebration of Mother's Day. Why am I all offended? Well, let me tell you why. Number one, it feels very victimizing. It's almost like they're trying to find somebody to help them feel victimized. Another thing is they feel like they're searching for an offense to cling to. They encourage one to focus on oneself and one's own personal experience. They promote self-absorption as far as I'm concerned. Let me tell you, I think it's offensive for companies to give people the idea that because maybe they wanted to be a mother and didn't get to be a mother, or they're a single mother, or their mother died recently, that in fact that somehow triggers the need for an opt-out on the emails. I don't understand. I don't understand. Now, of course, the far right would say, oh, it's an attack against traditional values. It's an attack against motherism or fatherism, or, well, it might be. But I think there's something even deeper going on. I think it's, well, let me put it this way. Do you know that we're all called to parent? Every one of us is called to be a parent. If you're a human and you love God, you have been designated as a spiritual mom or dad. Somebody is supposed to be able to look at you and go, you're a spiritual leader to me. You're a spiritual parent. As a matter of fact, Paul himself said it in those words. He said it in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 15. For though you have many instructors in Christ, yet you do not have many fathers. And the context of him saying that was that he had been pretty hard on the Corinthians. He had been beating them up like a parent takes it on his son or daughter. Not abuse. Don't go there. Because if your parents love you, they will lovingly wound you. Even good friends are defined by wounding their friends. That's just what life is about. And so he says to them, and I'm going to read it right now in First Corinthians chapter 4, verse 14. It says, I do not write these things to shame you, but as my beloved children, I warn you. In other words, hey, you could take this as triggering. You could take this as me shaming you. Like you have to run to your safe place because I am shaming you. Find your safe place. Go find somewhere where you can shrivel up in your fear because you've been victimized by a triggered moment. You're a victim. You need a safe place. Paul knew it back then. He says, I do not write these things to shame you, so don't go down that road. Don't say, oh, you're trying to shame me. You're trying to shame us. No, don't go down that road. But as my beloved children, I warn you. For though you might have 10,000 instructors in Christ, that's called teachers from a distance, yet you do not have many fathers. For in Christ Jesus I have begotten you through the gospel. In other words, I gave birth to you guys, so don't bug me. I gave birth to you. I am a spiritual father to you. Isn't it interesting? In the Catholic tradition, in the Catholic Church, we have Mother Teresa. The woman never gave birth to a baby, but her name is Mother Teresa. You know why? Because mothering is a calling all of us have that are women. Fathering is a calling every one of us has if you're a man. The Holy Father, the Holy Mother. And do you know that Mother Teresa was never offended that she didn't get to be a mother? I guarantee you she was not offended because she went to God about it. She went to God about it. And priests that understand their celibacy and their call to a celibate life, I'm telling you what, if they're at peace with their God and they're at peace with themselves, they're not victims. They're not victims. So here's my word. You will not find an option to opt out of any gay pride advertisement or transsexual parade. You will never find that. How about that? Oh, if you're offended by the transsexual dimension, do you want to opt out of those emails? It'll never happen, mark my words. You won't find an opt-out option on anything sinful. You'll never find an option to opt out of anything anti-God. I guarantee you, you will never find an option to opt out of emails that are anti-Christ. No, those ones are celebrated. You will only find opt-out options on the very things that God has instituted as holy. Things like male and female made he, them, family, marriage, motherhood, fatherhood. These are the things that you will have an opportunity to opt out of. In a fallen world, the things that you'll get to opt out of will be the things that are anti-Christ, anti-God. That's just the bottom line. So, all you mothers out there, all you mothers someday, because people hate the word mothers, fathers. People don't. The fallen world hates the phrase fathers, mother, or the words fathers, mothers, family, marriage. These are all trigger words in a fallen world, but I want you to know you've been called to be a spiritual parent no matter who you are. So that's just my shout out today for all of us as we get ready to celebrate mothers next month. Don't opt out of the email. Don't be self-absorbed. Don't let it trigger you. Humble yourself. If anyone's watching this and you've never been able to get pregnant, bring it to God. You're in a marriage. You've never been able to get pregnant. Bring it to God and celebrate the fact that you can even try to get pregnant because there was a mother that had you, and that's why you're breathing air right now. We need to be a thankful people. We need to be an appreciative people. We need not be triggered by the beautiful words and phrases that come from the heart of God. Don't opt out of godly institutions. Don't opt out of godly words. And by the way, you'll never have the opportunity to opt out of sinful stuff, because the world system will never, ever, ever give you the opportunity to opt out of that stuff. They just want to throw it in your face. Well, that's about it for now, you guys. 12 Minutes with Greg Johnson on Tuesdays. God bless you. We're bringing this to a close. Thank you.